Hello, hello.
Good morning.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey, everyone. Hey, everyone. How are you? Today, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say I'm like a 6. Because because I can see a light at the end of the semester tunnel, but I'm not there yet. Sarah, 1 to 10, how are you?
7. And
Awesome.
it would be 10 after semester ending.
Dang, why are the semesters so detrimental to our well-being? How about you, Stacy?
I also go with the 7. I got up this morning and did something I never do, which is got on the exercise bike.
Whoa.
Go me.
Well, I'm going to give you a 10 then. You can
Okay.
take a 7, but I'll give you a 10.
I'll take it. I've got the dopamine for it this morning.
What are we
Kartik?
scoring here?
What?
What are we scoring here?
We're scoring like, how are we?
Oh,
Overall well-being. No, you
Oh.
guys are the ones who have the subjective well-being question. What's that question? Why don't you do it? Let's be our own subjects.
I think it's on a scale of 0 to 10, everything considered, what's your score of your life conditions? So,
Score of life conditions, but it's not how are you feeling, is that right?
those are like the binary questions, like, are you stressed? Are you
Mm,
angry? Yes or
mm.
no? And the satisfaction is like a score, 0 to 10.
Okay, so what's your score on satisfaction? Oh, that's a totally different question though. Yeah, I changed the question midstream, so I am going to ask not about satisfaction.
I think life condition, I think if the sun comes out, it's going to be a 10. It's like a 7 now. I'm just waiting for the sun.
Wow, the sun is 3 points for you?
Oh, definitely. Yes. I have like, even in like the midst of the summer, I have a space heater. Like I'm like so, I don't know, sensitive or whatever. So,
Okay, so it's thermal comfort for you all the way. That
oh,
like
yes.
all the scales you were showing were like plus or minus, within a point, but you get 3 points out of a space heater, so I would say you're very lucky.
So he's throwing the theories off, you see, because supposedly the life
He's the
satisfaction.
outlier. Heterogeneity, we found it. Aaliyah, did I say 0 to 10 or 1 to 10? Does it make a difference?
I don't know that well, I think you said 1, but I'll just say 7 today because in fact the sun is out. So I agree with Kartik. I am very here for the sun too.
Sun dependent. Okay. Chris.
We are currently having radon mitigation within the house as we speak. So I guess my well-being will hopefully go up after the hour is over. But right now it's not great because it's a little bit loud.
So you have a very like locally focused
Very local at the
kitchen.
moment.
You have to
Yeah.
give a number though.
I would say 7 then, and hopefully it'll turn to an 8.
All right. Okay. So just observing so far, a lot of people are at 6 or 7, but they have this hope for like sort of an 8 to 10 on the horizon, and we all have a thing that we think is going to make it better. Ray Duel?
Yeah, I would say 8. Two factors. First one is weekend is coming up and we have some activities planned out. And second factor is I had a good meeting with Tammy yesterday. We are making some progress. So that's pretty much.
I got you to an 8. Oh my God, I'm so happy. Like,
Thank
if I
you.
can enable people to get there, then that makes me happier. Christina, how about you?
Sorry, I was a bit late. So it's like satisfaction of today.
It's
essentially?
like, yeah, it's like, how are you? It's sort of, it's not like overall life satisfaction. It's like, how are you now?
Yeah. So
One to 10.
I almost got hit by a car this morning with my bike. So that was like the deep
Ooh.
point, I guess. But yeah, and then I have new plans for tonight. So I guess that's kind of the positive, looking forward to something, which makes it very nice. So I guess I'm kind of in between, like still a bit shaky from the incident this morning, and then kind of a good thing happening. So I give it a solid 5.
Solid 5. Yes. I'm so glad you did not get hit. Let's see who I missed out. Ellison.
Like an ecological momentary assessment. I also joined late. I'll take the last 24 hours and I will say a 9. I taught my last class.
Oh my gosh, so jealous.
And
That
it
is-
went well.
Yay.
Because the 30 students that don't care didn't show up and the 38 who do did. So I had the class I love. None of the students, all the students that have been sort of harder to deal with, they didn't show up for the last class. So
Yeah.
we had donuts.
Oh my gosh. You got donuts for 30 students?
Yeah, I even figured out how to have DoorDash delivered to my classroom.
What?
It worked really well.
That is awesome.
That's why I give it a
Okay.
9. I'm still like riding high. We all had fun. Everybody was engaged. We had great discussions. So,
That's awesome. Well, I'm doing my last class remote, so no DoorDash for me.
yeah.
Narsima. Hey Ryan, welcome. We're grading our instantaneous or today's well-being on a 1 to 10. And Narasima's up, and everyone else is gone, so you'll be next, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm up there with Ellison. I mean, seeing flowers blooming outside. I just went to the gym and had a hot and cold steam and then cold shower, and my tingly skin and belly is full. What no cause for complaint right now.
Okay, you gotta pick a number, man. Oh, Ryan,
Nine.
you
9.
put- 9. Wow. Ryan, you totally look like a 9.
Well, I'm running late to work because I had a wild kid this morning. I'm like I'd say a 4.5. We're selling a house and the inspection is today, which makes me wildly nervous. Because there's people going through your house trying to find problems. So but yeah, I guess it's good we're selling a house, so it's still pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. Didn't you just move? I thought you just moved to Fort Collins.
Yeah, we moved, but we never sold our Denver house. So
Oh, okay. Wow, you have a lot going on. Good
yeah,
luck
but
on the inspection.
yeah, hopefully it goes good and they don't be like, you need a heat pump or something like that. Because then that'd be awful. All right, I'm going to turn my camera off for 5 minutes while I bike to my office.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for showing up. Okay, did I get everybody? Raise your hand if I missed you. Yeah,
Adam.
well, I think, oh, Adam, dang it, you're right in the middle of my screen. I was going around the outside. I'm so sorry, Adam. Yes, thank you for speaking up. 1 to 10.
Maybe 15 minutes ago, I would have said like a 9.5 because my kids got ready with no problems. Yesterday, I fixed my lawnmower, which wasn't a big deal. But then for some reason, Zotero was not cooperating with Google Docs very well earlier, which just made things go, at least if we're talking in a more momentary, transitory way, reference software but frustrations can definitely make your well-being plummet, at least in a temporary sense.
Yes. Okay, so do you have a number now?
Probably still 7. I mean, I'll figure it out.
Wow, you got 2.5 points down from Zotero and
From
Kartik
Zotero,
gets
yes.
3 points up from a space heater. I am like really questioning the subjective nature of the, okay, good enough. Well, thank you everybody for sharing. Wonderful. Okay, I wanted to start with a little bit of a report through the other project that I'm running, Sapphires, which Ellison is on. We have organized a get together with the Healthy Housing Coalition. So this is mainly for Colorado folks, but I wanted our whole team to know about it in case people have thoughts. So the Healthy Housing Coalition is a group of organizations throughout Colorado, mainly the Front Range. So it's like Denver, Fort Collins, Pueblo. People from New Mexico have been showing up the last couple of months. So it is all the way down, and then we're getting people from Weld County, which out of Colorado's. Well, I guess if you know your Pumas, you know where Weld County. But it's part of the more rural and plains part of Colorado, the less populated oil and gas affected places. So there's a huge range of people working in housing, mainly on the health aspects of housing, but it goes all the way from secondhand smoke programs, radon, to just there are people who work in inspections in Denver. There's usually about, I don't know, maybe 15 people on the call, or 20 people or so. And so I go when I can. I go when I've been able to. And we've been saying for a long time, hey, we should host you folks in Fort Collins. It's typically remote. But because we've been building a little house of pressure, to do some experiments, and by we, I mean not me. It's in my lab, but it's not me. We've been wanting them to come and explore it. And so that's going to take place on August 28th in the morning. And so I just wanted people to know about it. Those are people that we had suggested we would connect with in our proposal. And I have been continuing to update them about what we're doing and getting some ideas. Some of those individuals were the ones who participated in the comment on the interview script that Stacy led with Chris. And so it's a good regional connection. So I just wanted people to know that was happening in case you might be inclined to attend. August 28th, Wednesday, 9 to 12. Yep, I'd be happy to have you, Ryan. And we're going to try to leave a lot of time for discussion, because the benefit, of course, is having people connect and sort of co-imagine things they could do together rather than sitting through presentations. So I'm thinking that the 3 hours will contain no more than an hour of kind of rapid talks about here's what I'm doing, here's what we found, here's what we're looking for. Okay. Awesome. So, anyone else have things to bring up before we get started with taking a look at the agenda? Okay, by the way, I did send around a survey. You have now received the link twice. regardless of how fundamental you think you are to the group, I would like to see your responses. Because it's really people who are we come together, I think, when we pay attention to bringing everybody in. And so please don't think, oh, I'm not a PI, I don't have to fill that out. You know, I'm just a student or I'm just a postdoc. I don't want that to be a thing. So people are all contributing in different ways, and it's really important to understand how people would like to engage. Ryan says, what if we did posters rather than talk? Hey, that's a great idea, except then you have to make people make posters. Ryan, we'll talk separately about that. Okay. So I will include you in the planning, Ryan. So I am putting in the link to the agenda. I did send that out this morning. We can all look at it. I can also share my screen if that would be easier for us to navigate. So what do y'all think? Share screen or do you want to just look at it on your own?
Share screen.
Sorry, I was muted. Share screen, I think.
Okay, I'm working on it. Can you see?
Yes.
So if you haven't filled the survey out yet, I would like you to fill it out. And I also recognize it's a little bit awkward because in the survey, there's a question about like, what would you really want to do? And so you might feel like, oh, we've already developed the agenda in the meeting. And so now I can't fill the survey. That is not true. We'll continue to nudge as we plan. I usually go through 4 to 5 agenda versions before settling. And then I only settle because it's time to start the meeting. So anyway, here's what I have, and maybe I'll assume at this time of year, people have not had time to look at it. So if you have, I apologize, but I'm going to give a couple of minutes for people to scroll through it if they haven't had the opportunity yet. And I will take this opportunity to plug in my laptop. So I will be right back. Okay, so I just want to maybe start with, and I'm not going to try to edit the agenda on the fly is the other thing. Aaliyah, may I assume you're taking notes on this?
I am indeed.
Thank you. So I want to start with like, what do you not see that you're really hoping to see?
So I guess I have a question. I think it's great. I don't see anything I don't really miss. I don't miss, but I was curious about the video. I was remember last time, I think Allison may have mentioned about a different format, and could we actually record the video in the in-person meeting. So I'm wondering what the plan is for actually recording the video and what I've always wondered what form the video needs to be. Is it a Zoom kind of video or some other kind of thing?
Oops, sorry, I turned off the sharing. Let me bring it back. Yep. Okay, acknowledging your question, we will take it up. I'm still leaving space for people who want to bring something forward that they do not see here. I want to say that I think one thing that's missing is other than potentially in the theme review, I feel like Ryan and Chris have done a lot of work and there's not an apparent space for it. And I think we're learning a lot from that. So it'll probably come out in some of the expansions and so on, but I feel like it might need to be more explicit.
I think maybe in that same spirit, Tammy, I don't see a place to hear about our advisory board and some of the work Stacy's been doing. And I know I'd be interested to understand how that's integrating with what others are doing. Not putting you on the spot, Stacy, but I just think learning from that aspect of this project.
I kind of see that in the aligning motivations in the expansion section.
What's that?
I kind of see that in the aligning motivations and expansion
Oh, okay.
section on Wednesday, potentially. I think that there's a good, maybe fit there.
Okay.
There was somewhere on day 2 where it talks about where products stand. One thing that feels missing to me is products that are not academic papers and journals and the reporting, internal videos back to the funder. So there's academic products. What are the non-academic products?
Yeah, so we need to ensure that we don't focus only on academic products there. And Stacy, you're correct. I had intended the motivation section and the expansion section to include those people that we had hoped to bring in on an advisory board. And then recognizing that some of the reason that hasn't happened is perhaps the board structure is not the right one for inclusion. But that we should make it, if there's something we want to accomplish, we can make it explicit now rather than hoping that we're going to cover something. So
Tammy and we have a meeting coming up soon. And so I think we'll talk and discuss, and I would just add that the paper that was shared recently about participatory processes in research was really good. And I hope that everybody at least comes in.
Look, if I felt it was really useful in terms of helping with language. And so that could be another thing for us to identify now is what preparation do we hope that people have done coming to the meeting? right? We didn't ask you for videos this time. And so I'll put down here, prep, read participatory paper. And then we can send that round again. And then another thing that we should do is if you did not attend the meeting where Kartik presented, watch that video because it forms the basis of a discussion. And I'll try to keep the number of assignments small because I know it's a really busy time of year and people are doing a huge favor already by taking time out for the meeting. But I think the discussion that I want to have with Stacy and in fact with all of you is, okay, we've come a long way in our understanding of what we think works and does not work. How would we reframe and repropose what we want to do given what we know now? And so I put advisory board because I'm like, I want input from all these people. Well, if that doesn't elicit input from all those people, let's figure out what does. Or let's try a next thing that does. He might have been I don't remember who circulated it, Narasimha, but I'll find it, don't worry. And then it'll just be put in the drive. Okay, I'm not hearing anything else. And so how about this? Let's talk about Narasimha's question about the video. And then if something comes to your mind that you think should be included or you don't see here or you'd like to change a session to include something or propose something for inclusion, put it in the chat and then we'll pick it up after we have this video discussion. Sound okay? Okay, because people think at different paces. And sometimes I don't have ideas until after, like, oh, I should have said this. And so if something comes to you, either put it in the chat during the meeting, or you can just fill out the survey. Even if you have already filled out a survey, fill out another one. Okay, let's talk about the video. And Narasimha says, I don't know how the video is going to happen. So first, the guidance from NSF has been, it should be recorded on Zoom and it should not have any special effects. Now, I don't know what qualifies as a special effects, like Star Wars, probably out, right? And I think their goal is to not have you hire a videographer and be in a competition for the best produced video. I don't know how rigid their prohibitions are. And so they are expecting, I believe, to receive something on Zoom. It happens that we're having this in-person meeting. And so there could be a component of the in-person meeting that's shared on the video. I don't know if it'd be breaking their rules. But and what we had planned to do during the meeting is similar to the paper draft. I have a really crude video draft. I would like to build that out and put it in a storyboard. And you can see this part here. So put that storyboard like on the walls of the room and have people be able to scribble and comment on it. That was my only plan for the video. I am happy to open up that discussion. Let's do that now.
Tammy, can you remind me how long the video is again?
I believe it's 30 minutes. And so the only draft I have for the video is like about how much time we should allocate to everything. I can give me a minute and I'll find I can try to find the link to the draft for it. And it has somewhat different content from the report. in my recollection, the video should contain what you're going to do next, and that's not in the report.
I think that's something that for me, like if we're gonna have a half hour on that, I would love to see it beforehand as like a homework assignment so that I have time to think about it. I just don't know like the way I work if I'm gonna provide that helpful of like next step comments in a 30-minute chunk.
Meaning you don't know that the gallery walk idea would be that useful because you wouldn't.
No,
bring-
I think it's useful. I think it's something that like if we could see what's gonna be in the gallery before, that would be really helpful. Because like 30 minutes just isn't very much time, especially if this is like an important report out for NSF.
Yeah. Yeah, that might not. Okay, so here's what I have drafted so far. So maximum 30 minutes, and then the headers here are what NSF says that we need to deliver, and this is NSF's guidance.
I mean, did I hear you say it should not be what's in the report?
Well, I think that's so two things. First, the content specified is somewhat different. And secondly, it seems that the reviewers are going to be reading both the report and the video. And so we had talked about how to leverage those separate media to communicate more information. I think they shouldn't be disconnected, but I think we should take advantage of these two very different formats to try to communicate more information. If it's repetitive, then we're wasting time and space, or if it's overly repetitive.
Well, I mean, I think given your outline here, these are quite parallel to some of the major sections of the report, but I think it is an opportunity for them to hear from everyone. And also the way you summarize and crystallize your work in just a minute or so says a lot about the key takeaways that you don't maybe get from a report. So I like the way you structured it. I think even if you're basing it on the same content, it can be valuable because you're really pulling out the key messages and things like that and future plans. I just was wondering how would it be too choppy to have these kind of 10 people on a 30-minute video, but I like the idea of them seeing everyone, but I just making it a coherent presentation was difficult in that case.
Yeah, I agree. And so I'm happy to talk about that. I mean, this is maybe we can do that now, and maybe I guess there's two questions here. We can talk about the video now or in a separate meeting, and including the principle that you just brought up that it could be really choppy. And then another question is, what do we include in the in-person meeting to address the video? And so, yeah, I don't know how we want to address that.
I mean, I like Ryan's suggestion. I think if we are literally going to each say something in the video, then why don't we each prepare our slides for the video and kind of see how it looks all together and talk about it. So maybe I'm asking if we do our homework, add homework for ourselves, like we did for the last meeting,
Yeah, I like that idea too.
Yeah.
I guess I wanted to suggest again, and it may be Ryan, your comment I just skimmed quickly is maybe similar. Like instead of one person presenting at a time, if we had conversations where like they were scripted and like Chris asks 2 key questions of Ryan and Ryan gives those responses, and the questions are sort of informed by Chris's work about Ryan's work, and then vice versa. In my view, those would showcase like the integration and that convergence seems to really be dependent on not working alone.
Mhm.
So if the structure, it would take quite a bit of like pre-work, because I'm not suggesting like a free form like conversation. I'm really thinking more like a scripted conversation, but that involves 2 or 3 people talking about a product or work, but in a way that requires those multiple people to be part of that.
Mhm.
And
And,
I,
and
oh,
Ryan's,
sorry. Yeah, go
Ryan's
ahead.
got an idea in the chat too.
I think Ellison's is like a step beyond mine. It's actually better.
Mhm.
Like have conversations between people accomplishes the same thing and maybe in a more natural, hard to fake way, as Narsima said. So
Mhm.
By the way, I had solicited information from NSF about previous videos. You know, Stacey, we had talked about this, and I got a reply that they said they're still putting together a YouTube list of videos, but then they did send a list of videos. I just put that file in the drive, but it's for Convergence Accelerator videos. Now that's a whole different thing, right, Tammy? That's
It is, yeah.
yeah. So we should, I mean, I don't even know if we should look at those, but there's a list of 20 links to YouTube videos from NSF Convergence Accelerator videos, just so you know, and they're all on the drive under management progress reports. But I'm not sure whether we should look at it.
I do think Ellison's idea is something that the in-person meeting facilitates, because like I think when we meet together, we do ask good questions of each other about what people are learning. And like I think that's the sort of thing where if we take good notes from our in-person meeting, we might actually already have those questions, and then we just ask them for the video instead of for the team.
I have thought of trying to get the whole thing recorded, which is a pain in the butt. I don't know if it's a pain, but I'm not sure how. Like I always want to fast forward, like what did that person say? But I really only want 3 minutes out of the 2 days, but maybe that's okay.
I have some extra grad student money that I could easily pay for a grad student to come record, if that'd be helpful. I think I have like 40 hours of time I need to spend, so.
Okay. So let's talk about how to get some recording done. I like the ideas here. How do we want to take this forward? I think there's some ideas. The basic idea is demonstrating convergence through how the video is done. And believe it or not, when I put the 1.5 minutes, which sounds really choppy, I was also trying to highlight something that I want to see demonstrated, and we can think of other ways to do that. But this, even though it sounds choppy and unintegrated right now, what I wanted to do was have all of the people who are considered sort of junior presenting what they've learned, because there's really a lot of depth in what they have to bring forward. And so, and I think one of the elements of convergence is how are you growing the next generation and not just being the experts. And so I just want to tap that as like, I'd like to see each individual do some kind of engagement and not just leave it to the so-called PIs or faculty.
So I have a suggestion in that regard, two, I guess. One is I think you should keep that what you have. You know, let all of them present their work in the slide, and in the 10 minutes of that video where we talk about convergence, we could have these conversations. So I would say we could actually have parts to it, maybe, so that then everyone gets to speak, and we spend some amount of time making a more formal presentation and some part of it conversing to talk about convergence. The second suggestion I had, what if we, on day 1 of the meeting, we brainstorm and script this part like Ellison was suggesting, and then on day 2, and then we'll have the evening to just think about it, finesse it, and then day 2 maybe try to record.
Yeah, okay. Let me think about that. But those, I think these are all good ideas. And so what Narasimha just proposed is a way of using the in-person time to move the video forward. And just curious if so that's one that I'll contemplate. Does anyone have any other ideas about using workshop in-person time, which is a special kind of time to work on the video? So what I haven't heard is much of a peep from postdocs, students. And I think it's really easy to look at the faculty running the show and think that they know what they're doing and you should just follow them. But that may not, we're just faking it. Let's be honest. We're all just faking it. So I'm going to invite you to fake it. What do you think would be, how would you do this? Not just would you do anything different, but if you were leading this, what would you do? Yeah, like get whether it's in the box or out of the box, or you think it belongs or doesn't belong, what would you do?
To me, the conversation style of the video would be a good idea. But I was wondering, there is another way for each person separately record and we edit all of them in one go.
I think there is going to be some patching together if that's what you're asking. I don't think we're going to do it all in one go.
Oh, that would be great, because if we want to edit a whole video that is recorded in one go, it's harder than when separately recorded for each person.
Yeah, no, I think we're going to have some do-overs. Christina, what do you think?
So the first thought I had was I think I would spend much more time on the future plans, especially if that's not part of the report. And yeah, I think I would kind of structurally kind of distinguish what I would want to put in the report and what goes into the video. And I'm not so sure if it's super interesting if each of us kind of reports what they have done in like 1.5 minutes, or maybe it should be some aspect of it that makes it very interesting rather than just kind of reporting. I think this conversation style works pretty well with it, but yeah, so I'm not sure if it's worth spending so much time on people just reporting what they did and kind of separately. Yeah. But I haven't come up with a better idea than the conversation. I think that's pretty cool. Or maybe also in groups more, or yeah, rather than two people talking, and maybe also showcasing more the different disciplines that we have. Like we have people from so many different fields and kind of those, like deliberately pairing people that come from different areas or something like that. Yeah.
I think NSF might like our efforts to kind of establish a common language and like sort of be very precise about terms if there's a way to communicate that, because to me that shows convergence as well. You know, we've sometimes developed glossaries or kind of hashed out terms and things like that. And they might like to have the fact that they would take all these folks from different backgrounds and kind of create a common language.
Stacy, you unmuted, or you want? Ray Dool, do you have any thoughts about how to frame this?
Uh, I think I'm pretty much on board with other people's suggestions. So if I were the lead person, I would certainly lead the conversation, not just talking what I did, but what I extracted from others to build what I'm trying to do. And how did I got that communication feedback from other people? That would be my story to tell. Especially like I'm using research ideas from Karthik, Christine, Narsima. So, and I'm also envisioning to what you and Dr. Leeson is doing in terms of well-being characterization. So understanding from those and absorbing those, how I am being enabled to do that, that would be my story to tell.
Nice. Kartik.
Yeah, I think to add to Rydal's and Zara's points, I think I'm sort of struggling with this convergence and individual accomplishments. I don't know if we should have, two separate, sections which, talk about these things separately, or should we merge them and make something that's more cohesive and more free flowing? So, yeah.
That's a great point. Aaliyah, you're an actual artist and you're newest to this, and so you're probably actually most representative of the reviewers that we'll have. Do you have any thoughts?
I do. Sorry, taking notes also is hard to
Hey, somebody else can take notes while you talk. You should take notes on
but
your
yeah. A few things I heard that I think would be really interesting to showcase. I like this conversation piece, but it does need to be scripted well. And it needs, I think, several iterations. So if that's something that can be done beforehand, highly recommend that. And I actually would perhaps not take too much time during these 2 days to film in person, especially since we do need the Zoom format for the majority of it. It takes a lot more time to film, I think, than we might have. And I want to make sure that we're not losing out any other really important time that is needed for the conversation. I would also say, I know there's no special effects, but there might be a little bit of room for real life effects. So you can use props in your storytelling as you're recorded like this. I don't know, use a goat if it's helpful for you to showcase something, whatever you might need. Think about a little bit of a creative way to show that and not just talk about it. I think visual effects, hard copy, if you will, are very helpful.
Cool. Thank you. Okay, I took notes. Thank you. Stream of consciousness. Okay, we've got just a couple minutes left. I personally have a call at the top of the hour that I need to do a little prep for. So I want to get last thoughts on anything that did not come up here that has now maybe come to the front of your consciousness. Okay, so I hope we have started some ideas flowing. Nice. Nice. Right? I hope we've started some ideas flowing. And sometimes they don't come up for another, a couple of hours or days. So feel free to send them as you get them. They don't have to be in any particular format. I'd love it if you would fill out the survey, but if you just want to send an email to saying, hey, thought of this, then we'll see how we can incorporate it Because it's that generation of ideas and whenever they come that that will make a more interesting conglomerate. Okay, we're gonna change the meeting venue to Ryan's basement so we can all experience what what we're trying to change. We might have some different feelings of urgency under those conditions.
Go quick and get out of there.
Okay. Thanks, oh, one last thought. If there's anything on here that you don't want to do, that you're like, I just really, that is not the most exciting session to me. Also, feel free to say that. Send me an email, write in the survey. There's a point at which this will be frozen. It's probably the Friday before it occurs, so we've got a week. But over the next week, feel free to bring ideas for radical change to the agenda. Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Enjoy some sunshine, Karthik. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.